December 2019. Gonna talk about the kinds of people, if you could call them that you, if you're anything like me, you probably have encountered them, unfortunately, probably in greater numbers than you're gonna encounter real people in real life and on the internet. I think most of them going to talk about the internet, as pathetic as that is, I know, but also keep in mind that I'm remembering this stuff from over 10 years ago. Things have changed for the worse, so it was pretty crappy what I remember, but in retrospect it was worse than I actually realized, and it's even worse today. Because instead of there being like 50% fake users and forum spies, it was like maybe, I don't know, for every 8 bad people, there might be 2 or 3 real people. I don't know, it's hard to say, but I'm thinking of kind of a certain community type of creative type people, and mostly forum culture ended in 2005. I don't know what caused the end of it, but it was extremely abrupt and it ended overnight. A bunch of forums that were really active in 2005 suddenly died in a week. Like, really active forums, they went from 1,000, maybe not 1,000 active users a day, but there'd be like 200 active users, and they were posting real original content. I have a particular major forum in mind. And then one day, only 5 people would start posting. I don't know where the others went. I figured it could have been Facebook, but I don't know that. Reading the Facebook TOS should scare anybody off. Anything you post to Facebook, you lose the rights to it. It's no longer your property if you post it on there. So I don't know why anybody would use that site after looking at the TOS, and not only that, but Facebook uses ghost accounts for people that don't use it anyway. So back on LiveJournal and DeviantArt and things like that, there would be these things that were called memes, but they're not like the image macro memes, like with the photo you see a million times and it has text on it, usually in a certain snow clone format. These memes were more like questionnaires, and they're very popular, but in retrospect it was actually a form of data mining. On LiveJournal, I recall a lot of questionnaire memes circulating, asking about when were you born, how do you identify, what are your sexual preferences, what are your favorite things, what's your hobby. It was data mining. I can't believe how much people fell for that, including myself. So if you find any questionnaires like that, don't touch them. Anyway, there are these other, I guess, more memes in the general sense, and now oftentimes when certain people of the group that I am in use the word meme, we might not necessarily be referring to viral questionnaires or image macros or snow clones, but we're probably going to be using the word meme to refer to things we commonly see, trends, tendencies, combinations. For instance, images of people walking around with only one shoe on is a meme, or themes in movies that we could call them tropes. Those could also be called memes. We all remember, like, memes from elementary school playground days where, I remember them, where children would just start yelling some sentence, and maybe a few variants on that sentence. Usually it just sounded kind of like a joke. Well, one such meme I remember hearing in elementary school was, Tyrannosaurus Rex wore a very fine dress. I think you might have heard that. That one was something people would chant for no reason, or just repeat ads and slogans they heard on the radio, like, it's not cool to be a dummy, or it's cool to be a dummy. I can't really remember. Oh, and everybody remembers that S. It was called a Dragon S, but it got traced back to it probably predates the 1930s, some kind of a knitting pattern. You know the S I'm talking about. Anyway, so LiveJournal and DeviantArt and other such websites with a user base of people generally between the ages of 14 to early 20s that were of a creative hobby type. We would sometimes develop joke, satirical Mary Sue characters with, all the rainbow sparkle OCs with all the powers, and they have a ridiculous name with 5 parts, like Ebony Darkness Dementia Raven Way, or some variant of that. Anyway, one community, actually a few of them, there would be the popular kids who were always doxing themselves and posting their PayPal information and begging for commissions, and they were posting their faces, their jobs, where they could be found in real life, even their telephones, for some reason. So there would be those popular kids and I'm using the word kid because they looked older than average. They'd say they were 16, but they looked 20, and they were really cliquish and weird on the internet anyway, and anybody who wasn't them was basically regarded as absolute scum of the lowest kind, meaning just an unpopular normal person. And usually it was a cisgendered female who would be treated poorly and even harassed and stalked on various websites by the popular kids. If I were to tell you everything, I'd be here for a million years. There's so much to say. But, okay, so there would be this meme of making a satirical neon OC with all the powers. And in a community, 4 of the popular kids would make a satirical OC and write a satirical bio about the character. And then the 5th person would do the exact same thing, and it would be a biological female person who is not very well liked by the community, even if she has pretty okay talent and skill. And everybody else tells her that she's late to the party, she's stupid, she's horrible. Like, they'll even call her a retard. Yeah, this happens more than once, by the way, to different people. So I'm pretty sure maybe somebody listening to this knows what I'm talking about, because it's pretty common. And then, you know, the 5th person, who's biological female, just gets confused and doesn't understand why everyone's hating on her so much for posting an OC that everybody else is also posting. Like, why is she getting hated on? And then the kicker comes in when 2 more popular kids, their friends, will post satirical OCs and satirical stories, and they get praised and loved on. You probably know you know how that goes, because it's pretty common. Anyway, the popular kids will freak out, like, especially if they're bad at art. But like I said, one of them that I know of was actually selling Molly under the guise of her terrible art. Also, it was actually a boy. But yeah, and if you criticize them, they yell at you about how much money they make, and they ask you, how much money do you make? They're hypocrites. They think they're above the rules, and they fight each other a lot, because eventually they will annoy each other with their bad behavior and start making call-out journals of infighting, and then they have this internet freak-out within their community, and it just makes you wonder, why do they praise each other when they hate everybody else who does the same thing? Like, you know what I'm talking about? I think you do. Anyway, they just think they're above the rules, and they chimp out so much. I know chimps are fake, but I use the word chimp out because it describes them perfectly, and I think a lot of fake stuff that we see in the media all around us is based on something real and something relatable. And I think that'll end this part.